Welcome to Explaining the Plays. I'm Uncorrupt, and I'm going to be explaining exactly why I'm doing, what I'm thinking as I'm playing the game. The Curse Warlock version of Explaining the Plays. And it looks like right off the bat we're going to be up against a Shaman. I find the Shaman matchup to be hard, because typically my opponents just end up eating a bunch of my minions with like Mutinous, Bolner, Bran, and the Macaws repeating the Mutinous effect, so could be a little bit challenging here. I don't think we want to keep any of these. If we were worried about aggro, actually, I'm gonna keep the Mistress here. Mistress is typically a keep. If it's the slower, more mid-rangey, control-y version of Shaman, it's not going to be that good, but if it's the more pure Murloc aggro version, then it could be very good. And we're just going to get this out on turn 1. Try to spend as much of our mana as we can, hopefully all of it every single turn. Opponent does nothing that likely means that it's going to be the more control-y version. I just want to tap here. Tap's the only way I can spend my mana. Tapping is good. Sleep Breaker from our opponent. So now we have an interesting kind of conundrum. How does our opponent kill a 4 health Bran? With Schooling? They play Schooling, and then with the coin, they play 3 Piranha. But if they had Schooling on 1, they would have played it, which means they would have had to have drawn it exactly on this most recent turn. Other thing to do would be to just clear this. But we can trade Bran, and if the Bran sticks, then we're able to actually Zola the Bran and get 2 Brans in hand, plus a Bran is still on the board, even though we can't totally make use of it. I think it's worth the risk here. I really don't think our opponent is going to have Schooling. If they do have Schooling, they'll be able to remove it, but it's also going to force them to use the coin as well. I believe that's going to be the only way that they're actually going to be able to get rid of this Bran. They could freeze it with the Wind Chill to potentially draw a card and look for more stuff. Sometimes I try to read into what my opponent is able to do based on how much time they're taking with their turn. Like, this is a snap clear if you have a way to clear it, so I think that means they can't clear it. So now they get down to Bolner. That likely means our Bran is going to stick, but we have to remove the Bolner here. We can't just leave it on the board, so we're actually going to have to use the curse. It's going to cause us to float a mana. But that's what we're going to have to do. This is only 3 damage on the Demonic Assault. And hopefully the Bran can actually stick around for one more turn. I'd like to be able to get 2 Brans back in hand. Our opponent ended up actually wasting their Bolner. I guess hoping that we wouldn't be able to deal with it. Thinking about playing the curse. I mean, they don't really have any plays. Would be good for us. This going to be the Chargers. It's the Schooling. So unfortunately our Bran does get removed here. Looks like they've wasted the coin though. I guess they thought if they coined they'd be able to play the curse, which really isn't necessary. I really don't think that's what they intended to do, but it's what they did. So, a bit unfortunate there. It was risky to try to play the Bran like that, but I think we're still okay. Tap Zola doesn't do anything. We could Demonic Assault base and Touch of the Nathrazim. That's kind of like spending mana just to spend mana, though. Likely we want a Tamsin next turn anyway. We just throw out the Zakul, there's a chance that it sticks and we're able to get in another 6 damage. I'm not sure that we're actually going to need the healing from the Zakul. I think we're just going to tempo this out. This builds up our curses. You know, our curses now are up to 2. Next curse we play is going to be 3. And our opponent really looked like he wanted to play that curse out of hand, so he's going to freeze the Zakul here. And plays the curse, so I think we still just Tamsin. Zakul survives. We don't overdraw. So they're still going to be looking for a way to remove this minion. Hit 1/3/3, that's good for us. Our opponent really hasn't done anything. No Wildpaw Cavern. No Murloc stuff. This really isn't all that strong. And we can remove it pretty easily here. So we can go tap, Demonic Assault, Touch of the Nathrazim. We just take a copy of the Zakul. I think we definitely want to try to copy one of our curse effects here. So we could copy, and then remove this guy with these two. Gonna tap first. We're gonna see if this changes the play at all. Another 3/3. Mixtress. Problem with this play is we make his next Snowfall Guardian even bigger. It's going to remove it like this. I don't want to put too many minions on the board because I don't want to give him just a really big Snowfall Guardian and or Brilliant Macaw. This might encourage him to try to find other ways to remove this board because his Snowfall Guardian is still going to be so small. If he doesn't remove it, we get free damage base, which is always nice. Mutinous is not going to be super strong if it can't eat more than one minion, so Bran Mutinous is a ways off. He could Mutinous now and then like Bran Macaw next turn to try to eat a bunch of minions out of our hand. It's another good reason to hang on to this Mixtress and just never play it. It's going to be a good Mutinous target. Again, I find with this matchup, I lose because my opponent is actually able to just eat so many minions out of my hand. Here's another one. Another Snowfall Guardian. It's not that big though. I really don't think we have to worry about it. I want to tap again. Dragged Below. If we play this Dragged Below, thinking about Tamsin Rome in future turns, the only spells that would allow us to create additional curses would be Abyssal Wave. I guess that's fine because we're not going to be able to do it in multiple turns anyway, so we can just go this and clear the Snowfall Guardian with the touch. Again, this is going to be floating a couple of mana. It's not ideal, but it shouldn't be a super big deal in this game. Keeping in mind, this is 3 damage, next curse hits for 4, and our opponent has been acting like they really want to play these curses every single turn. They just don't want to take the damage, which is good news for us. They end up basically having to waste 2 mana to get the curse out of hand.
Pick me.
They're able to remove the Zakul. Not that big a deal. We could potentially put 4 and 5 in our opponent's hand if we wanted to. Schooling. Also now, the Snowfall Guardian effect has been overwritten by casting Scalding Geyser, so we're not really concerned about going wide anymore. So I think we can actually just Demonic Assault, tap, Demonic Assault, and Cultist here. It's continuing to try to look for like Tamsin and Abyssal Wave. Also getting 3/3s on the board. They can't freeze the board anymore. It looks like we might actually be floating mana again if I'm not careful.
What is taking so long?
Also calls him to overdraw one card here. It's not that big a deal, but this is going to give us a wide board. It puts a curse in their hand for 4 damage. We also push 6. The overdraw Clownfish, that's actually a pretty decent overdraw for us. Clownfish is pretty good here. So he has 4 in hand, and we can actually put in 5 and 6 as long as we don't lose our minions. I didn't lose anything really good here, and opponent's actually just dead. He was dead on board. I guess he just likes to mutinous, but so you can kind of see if we were in a worse position, if the Snowfall Guardians weren't gone, if they had maybe the Snowfall Guardian effect still on the Brilliant Macaw, this game could have gone a little bit differently, but we were able to lay out a wide board once we weren't afraid of freezes and Guardians anymore. And then the mutinous eating minions actually wasn't that bad. So games don't always go like that. Typically, again, you know, for me, my opponents, they're just able to mutinous, and then they play like Bolner, Macaw, and like I lose an entire hand full of minions and lose the game. So pretty solid game for us there. The next game here, we will be moving on to the next. This is actually a person that's showing rogue, so we know it's not a Maester rogue. I'm expecting bomb rogue. There's a relatively new list of bomb rogue now that's running like Trickster and Smokescreen, as well as 2 Burning Blade Acolytes, so they can potentially generate a lot of 5/8 taunts on the board, in addition to the bomb package. Not quite sure just how good that deck is. We're actually not keeping any of this. Bit of an assumption on my part, but you always have to make an assumption when you're making the mulligan. Just based on what I'm seeing. Blade Master Okani could actually be really good, and if we could ever stick like a Bran Okani on turn... I hate to say it, but on turn 6. If it is Bomb Rogue, likely on turn 6 we could just be dead. But if we ever were able to have an Okani that blocked a spell and a minion, that goes a really long way in this matchup, I think. We may even actually just coin out the Okani on 3 to block a spell. Potentially it blocks sketchy information, it could block block a lot of good stuff. Other option would be just like tap and null. The null is only going to be 1 mana. Spends all of our mana, puts a 5/4 in play that our opponent likely can't remove, or would have to like swing into and then a Touch of Nefarian. It also allows us to save the coin in case we do get to turn 6. I think I like that. Just going to tap and I'm going to play the null out. Pick up a decent turn 4 play here. Again, assuming it's Bomb Rogue, if they can never activate a bomb and then equip the weapon, we can put some taunts in the way so at least they can't punch us in the face. Actually, that was the second copy. Be helpful if I kept my eyes open and knew what was actually in my hand. Yeah, so this is weak on the part of our opponent here. I think I just want a null and drain soul. I definitely want to kill this before they get up like a snowfall graveyard. Actually, I think it's going to be null coin Okani and block a spell. Changing direction just a little bit here, but if you wait too long against Bomb Rogue, they're just going to be able to find lethal and be able to kill you. So we're going to go ahead and get the Okani out on the board, blocking a spell. This will prevent Snowfall Graveyard. It'll prevent sketchy information. Unfortunately, we catch a prep there. They were able to smoke screen, so this is going to be the deck that's playing the 2 Burning Blade Acolytes. I'm not really necessarily concerned about the 5/8s. Here's a Tamsin. So we're going to push this 7. And I think we just go ahead and get our Zakul in play. It's going to put 1 curse in play, which isn't great. but it's also a 6/5 body on the board. Basically, we're just going to tempo this out. It's going to heal us for 1. Puts a lot of power in play as well. Our opponent could play like the Shambler and the Burning Blade Acolytes, then they could have a 1/3 and a 5/8 with Taunt on the board. It's not overwhelmingly concerning. Looks like our opponent is potentially thinking that he needs to clear the Zakul here. Probably just trying to shut down our healing, but we're going to have a lot of healing in hand with Drain Soul and Tamsin. We can save this until turn 7. We'll be able to heal for 12 in 1 turn with that combo. Could also pick up like a Spice Bread Baker at any point. We're still going to have a lot of power on the board as well. This deck doesn't have any kind of board sweep or AoE clear, so he might be able to remove this 1 minion, but we're still going to be able to push 7 from here. There's the weapon. So the question is, how close to are we to being dead? So we have 11, 13. We have 17. It's not enough. Unfortunately, we can't put another curse in our opponent's hand, so we're going to heal for 1. We could play Tamsin and Drain Soul twice to go to 19. The heal puts us to 20, but Snowfall Graveyard and 2 bombs would still kill us. We go to 16. We can put 2 1/3 taunts in play, and we can go to 17 because we're still getting 1 heal off of this. So I think that's going to be the best that we can do. He's going to have to be able to have 3 bombs. I'm going to Drain Soul my own minion, and I'm going to Drain Soul this 2/6 over here. So our opponent's now at 5 health. He's not going to be able to punch us in the face, I don't think. We know 1 prep is gone. He needs to be able to detonate 2 bombs and get an extra damage. If he swings here, that's 1 bomb. He would need the Snowfall Graveyard as well. So Snowfall would be 3. Tooth of Nefarian to remove these. I guess he doesn't need to remove the minions, so Snowfall Graveyard leaves him 4 mana. Swing. Shambler Bomb is 5, and then either Wicked Stab or Tooth of Nefarian. So it's still possible that we die here, but we know that these are 2 Death Rattle minions. For sure. Could be bombs, or they could be Burning Blade Acolytes. I think we're okay here. At this point, I always wonder, is my opponent roping lethal? Do they just not see a play? Do they not have a play? Are they roping concede? Always so difficult to tell. Trade feels like it's good news for us. Trickster. Smoke screen again. And we just win. Nice. Game number 3. One correction that I need to make from last game. I actually ducked into my collection in between games and to double check what Smokescreen actually does. That 8 mana rogue spell, it actually draws 5 cards and it activates any death rattles that are drawn. So I think I had made an assumption that my opponent had drawn 2 Burning Blade Acolytes, and that was not the case. They could have been any card whatsoever. The only thing that I knew for sure was that of the 5 cards that they drew the first time, there were no death rattles, and when they played Smokescreen the second time, they drew 1 death rattle, which was the second bomb. Opponent showing Druid, I feel like that means it has to be Rogue. I'm just going to hold on to the Mistress of Mixtures here. Nobody's playing Druid, is what I'm basing that assumption on. I haven't seen anybody playing Druid. gosh, probably in about 2 weeks now, so we'll find out if this was correct or not, but just based on what I'm seeing, based on averages, percentages, whatever you want to call it, this should be a rogue and not an actual druid. So again, you can see, you know, turn 1, Mistress, turn 2 is almost always going to be tap. Tapping and drawing cards is just a really strong play for us with Warlock in general, and especially with this deck. You just want to get cards in hand. Our opponent is looking like they might actually be druid. Looks like tap is our only option. And we have no choice but to float a mana here, so a bit unfortunate there, but it is what it is. Next turn, likely just going to get the school teacher down. It actually is a rogue with a bad draw. I guess potentially they could be getting a Knoll out here. Knolls are going to be free at this point, I believe. 0 mana Knoll and a Cookie the Cook. So we can just go tap and drain soul on this. It's going to leave Cookie in play. He is going to have some healing from Cookie, but there's not a whole lot we can do about it. We also have Tamsin potentially on 6. Tap. The tapping is definitely the play. If we overdraw at some point, it's not that big a deal. Just losing one card. There's very, very few matchup situations where overdrawing one card is going to actually cost us the game. He's actually killing his own Cookie. That's... what is going on? Why is he killing his own Cookie? I have no idea. What's going through my mind right now is a bunch of question marks. Maybe I should have left the Knoll on the board. If I'd left the Knoll, maybe he would have killed his own Knoll with Tooth of Nefarian. I don't understand this play at all. I feel like this is the kind of games I lose to. Like, my opponent kills his own minion, floats 2 mana. Like, what am I supposed to do with this information? Alright, we're just going to get down the school teacher. That just absolutely boggles my mind. And I think we're just going to go wide on the board here. We're going to go ahead and play this. We're going to go wide. See how our opponent would like to answer this. He doesn't have any minions on his side of the board, so I guess he can't kill his own minions. Unfortunate for us. Second Tooth. Also unfortunate for us. I wish he would play... I wish he would play minions so that he would target his own minions. That was great. Our opponent's actually doing nothing. It's like he's AFK. Potentially we're going to push 5 damage. I mean, there's no way I play Tamsin. Overdrawing 1 card or 2 cards, you know, again, not game breaking, but I'm not going to clear my own board. I'm going to make my opponent clear this board. Alright, so, I mean, this is definitely going to happen. Question is, I mean, I could play, like, Zakul, and then just kill one of my own minions. It puts a 6/5 in play. His best play on turn 6 is going to be a Krakatoa. Let's go ahead and start developing our curses here. And yeah, I'm just going to get the Mixtress down. It's really not that big a deal. It's going to heal him for 4. But it puts a 2-power minion in play here. We're nice and wide. Again, the best turn 6 for this deck is likely going to be Krakatoa. But he doesn't have like a good trade. And so he doesn't have a good trade into this. He's going to have to either swing face or he's going to have to put 2 minions into it. Still going to have a lot of stuff on the board. We're going to be able to remove his crab with the stuff that we have in hand. And it looks like Provoke. Okay. So created by Provoke, really good for our opponent. That saves him a lot of damage. But now Crab is gone. I think we just start with the school teacher here. We just dropped the Tamsin on an empty board. I mean, we overdraw 1, but Tamsin just has a lot of benefits of, you know, drawing cards and giving us plays potentially for the next turn. We don't have Abyssal Wave or the Entitled Customer, so we need to be able to clear, you know, like the Asharan ships if they come down, or if they have scabs, the Stealth 4/2s. We need to be able to get rid of stuff like that. Let's gonna see what's in this. Full-blown evil. It's gonna help us to potentially be able to clear some stuff. I think I like it. We're gonna tap last because we're noobs. And again, we're floating a mana here. You know, there were probably other plays I could make that would cause me to not float a mana, but I don't want to just throw this out on the board. Dreadsteed was a potential option. Our opponent's trying to set up for a big Edwin. It's now a 6/6. And they actually capped out at a 6/6. Opponent has a 2-mana 6/6. Let's see, hand is full. So we can go... I don't want to get the Okani down. And we want to block... I'm going to block a minion. What minions do they have left? They have another Knoll. We're going to go for the minion counter here. Actually just copy the Okani. I'm going to do it like this and throw the cultist out here. Next curse is going to hit for 3. Got Zola to be able to potentially copy either of these minions if they survive. We actually eat his Okani, and our opponent does nothing. They lost a minion, they played a curse, and they daggered up. All good news for us. We're just looking to tap here. We will Zola this. And I'm just going to go ahead and spend mana, and this will heal us back to full. I think our board is wide as possible. Kravatoa is gone, so we're not necessarily worried about our board being cleared. You could have scabs. He has once again shadow stepped his Edwin. He's trying to buff it up as big as he can. And that gives him a Spice Bread Baker, so he does have some healing based on hand size. There's a ship. Next curse hits for 3. We can actually put 3, 4, and 5 in his hand. So now we're going to have to actually do some math here. So we have 5, plus 3 is 8, plus 4 is 12, plus 5 is 17, so we're actually 1 off. We are 1 off. We can make the full-blown evil play here. I really don't think he's going to be able to kill us from 30. He's already used 2 teeth and 1 wicked stab. Plus with Smite being 7 mana now, so... We just pack a few more curses into his hand and try to set up lethal for next turn. No real need here to clear our own board. So that's going to be 3. And 4 in hand. And we're just going to go ahead and get rid of both of these. And push this damage. Takes 7. Next curse deals 5 damage, so he needs to get rid of both of those curses. If he plays Scabs, we actually get all this stuff back in our hand without overdrawing here. Game's looking pretty good. You really feel like you're in the captain's chair in a game like this, but I had a feeling as soon as our opponent killed their own cookie, really felt like we were doing pretty well this game. There's the heal. They're back to 18. So wave is actually a good pickup. So we can put 5 and 6 in our opponent's hand. We have multiple cultists. I think we're just gonna go ahead and clear what our opponent is trying to do here. We could actually just play the Okani. Play the Okani to block a minion because their direct damage is gone. They would have to Wicked Stab the Okani. Other option would be just put a curse in their hands. They already have 2 curses though. Is it lethal? Am I just crazy? Definitely block a minion because those would count as spells. We're just going to spend mana and get the Okani down. Block a minion. So they take 3 and 4 and 5. So I actually missed lethal by not playing this, and that was my fault. I don't use a counter for Abyssal Curse damage. And so I actually missed lethal. So if they're able to kill me with a Smite Edwin combo, which is extremely unlikely with us being at 28 health, then it's because I misplayed. Smite costs 7. They play the Smite and they have 24 damage. They would need exactly Smite, Prep, and second Wicked Stab. Actually, they've already used both preps, so they can't kill us, and we're going to be killing them next turn. But again, I misplayed this. If I had played a Cultist instead of Okani, we actually would have won the game with exact lethal. Next curse would have hit for 6. So, if we have the ability to turn on a curse counter, that's something that you can do. I usually just, I've always enjoyed actually just tracking the curses. Yep, and there's the concede. So, misplay on my part. I missed lethal. Got to be able to keep track of those curses, how much damage the curses are doing, the curses that are in their hand, as well as the curses we can add to their hand. That's actually going to do it for the video. If you've enjoyed this, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. That's really, really big help to me. And thank you for watching. Good luck out on the ladder.